Hey guys, it's me Laura. I'm a homeschooling mom of 3 kids, ages 7, 11, and 14. I'm also the creator of Ticket to Learning, which is a literature-based unit study style curriculum. And today I am here to share with you an update of what is going on in our homeschool. It has obviously been a long time since I have been on here. I have had a lot of medical stuff and just things in general going on in our lives. I will update you on that in another video, but you guys said that you wanted me to do first on my coming back to YouTube where we are and what we're doing in homeschool. So that is what I'm sharing with you today. For those of you who haven't been following along for a while, we are a year-round homeschooling family, and we don't really start grades necessarily at the right place or where they go. We just kind of keep going, keep our cycle moving of homeschool. We are currently, I have my 14-year-old is doing some high school classes as well as finishing up his 8th grade stuff. Next year, school year, he'll technically be in high school. We have my 11-year-old is finishing up 6th grade going into 7th grade, and then my 7-year-old is finishing up 1st grade going into 2nd grade technically. But we're a mix everywhere. So I'm just going to take them one by one. I'm going to start with our group stuff, and then I'm going to work my way from the top all the way down to the youngest, and I'll put timestamps in here. That way, if you're only interested in some of it, you don't have to watch the whole thing. So let's start with our group subjects. So group stuff is looking very different because we have currently a middle schooler, a high schooler, and a lower elementary. So all of those have very different needs. The group stuff typically is for my older two, and the little one can kind of tag along here and there. It's really grouped for the olders. I don't really do much with all of them together, although we're all in the same room, so there's some overlap there. But right now we are finishing up reading through True or False. It's a CIA analyst's guide to spotting fake news. So we've been reading through this together. There's a few activities in the book, so mostly we're just reading this and discussing it. And when there's activities that say, hey, go look for this or do this thing, we've been doing that as well. That is coming to an end, and when that is done, we're going to be starting on a big, huge thing that actually will include all of the kids a little bit better, which I'm excited about. We're going to be doing huge health and wellness kind of, I don't want to call it a unit because it's a bunch of little mini units. Now I'm going to be using this program with all of these little mini units combined, and I'm going to use that for a high school health credit for my oldest. For my middle, he's just going to be joining along, and then my little one will have some activities that she can do with each of these units as well, which I'm really excited about. So our first one that we're going to be starting is going to be the human movement in the body, and so this is a great way to kind of get an introduction to the human body and the importance of exercise and all of that. So with this, we're going to have each child make sure that they're trying out a bunch of different exercises to figure out what kinds of routine, what kind of activity is going to be good for them to be lifelong, physically active human beings. Okay, what are some things that you like? What are some things that you don't like? How can you fit those in your schedule? We're going to work through all of that during this unit as well. And of course, because we do everything with literature, these are going to be our read alouds. During that, we're going to be reading Ghost, which is about a boy who runs track. And we're also going to be reading The Boys in the Boat, which is about a rowing Olympic team in the 1936. And then when this is over, I will watch the movie with my oldest for this as well. So that is that unit. And then the next unit, which I haven't fully planned yet, is going to be psychology. So we're going to be talking about that, and we will be reading 1,000 Minutes to Sunlight. And then there's a unit on human body that's more into anatomy and physiology. There's also going to be a unit on health and nutrition, and I think there's one more. So I'm kind of excited about all of those and putting all of those together. So that is what we have for our group stuff. And now I'm going to go ahead and jump to my oldest. So we still have our checklist. I'm just going through them to make sure that I cover all of the things. So for my oldest, he is taking Spanish from Spanish Homeschool or Online Academy. I don't know. I'll put the link down below. But he has Spanish class twice a week, and he works on vocabulary and does his homework on the other days. And he's getting a high school credit for that. He is also still finishing up his aviation course. This we got through Timberdoodle, and again, I can put a link to that. This has taken him a while to get through, but that's totally fine with me. It's pretty rigorous, and he's really learned a lot. So he is still doing that. He's really close to finishing that. He really enjoys the simulations, and doing the graphing and the mapping has been really good for him. So that has been fun, and it's made him, he's considering getting his pilot's license. You can get that pretty young. I don't know if he'll actually do it or not if he's really motivated, but at any rate, it's been really neat for him to have that exposure. I'm not sure what is going to take the place of that. He's kind of going to be going into high school. So I have all mapped out the kinds of classes that he needs to take, which I don't have in front of me right now. If you want to know what our plans are for high school, let me know and I can do a separate video for that. He also is doing Denison algebra still. That is going really well. So he's right on track with his Denison algebra. He really likes this because with Denison, they have the lesson that you take, and then for all the solutions, they have the solutions manual, which is this, and then they also have a video where he works the problem. So if kids get hung up, they can work it with them. He has found that he does better if he does the problem, is working on the problem, but he has the solutions video right along with him. So if he gets stuck, he can watch that and kind of get unstuck. And his goal is by the end of the work, he wants to be able to easily do the problems without needing the solutions. Since he's been doing that, his test scores have gone up a lot, and I feel like his understanding of the concepts is really good. So I think this is really good, and we plan on sticking with this through geometry and algebra 2 as well. So that is going really well. For their English language arts, right now for the boys, both of them are together for that, and they're kind of together. So sometimes I will do separate literature selections for them. Sometimes I'll pick one for my oldest that's too advanced for my youngest, and so then I'll split them. But for the most part, we're doing a cycle at this point where they do literature. So we'll do our literature, do a book together. Usually we do some kind of novel study with that, or we'll do some kind of language arts related, something to go with the novel study. And then we do a time that's kind of a little break where we mostly focus on grammar and mechanics. And right now for that, I have them doing, yes, I know this is the 6th grade level, but I still think that it's good practice, which is perfect for my youngest. He's in 6th grade, but my oldest is doing this as well. So they'll do some pages from here, and they'll also do some work in Fix-It Grammar. Right now I have them on level 4. I'm hoping we can move through this quickly, but I'd rather not do all the levels, and then I feel like so many people don't have a solid foundation even on the basics, so I'd rather them have the solid foundation on the basics and then advance if we're able to. So they'll do that during this time. They'll do usually one in here and usually a couple days worth in here per day, but it's kind of a lighter schedule, which is also really good because if we are having like a really busy time, we can bump over to this part of the cycle and then just kind of keep working. For writing, we're going to be starting Write Shop, which I am hoping to actually keep going with both of them, but keep it as part of high school for my oldest because it's perfectly acceptable for that. But we're going to start doing Write Shop. So we'll do a Write Shop unit, we'll do a lit unit, and then we'll do a grammar unit, and then we'll keep going through. So that's kind of what we have right now. I have used Write Shop Junior. Their regular Write Shop is quite different. I'm hoping this year, throughout the next few months before we really jump into high school with my oldest, that we can kind of tweak Write Shop and make sure that that's the right fit for writing for him, because I want to have a solid writing curriculum. I've noticed that with high school, a lot of programs either have, like, you'll do all lit one year and all comp one year, and that just does not work as well for him. So we can kind of combine those together to create a lit course and still meet all the requirements, or to create a full ELA course each year. So that's kind of what I'm looking at, still working on that. And then for him, for history, we have already started a history program that's going to end up being counted as high school credit. The timing was weird, but that's fine. So what I'm doing for him is I'm using as my kind of spine for that is the Crash Course History that is on YouTube for free. So each week we watch one of those videos, and then I have several nonfiction spines that I will pull from. Whatever one goes with whatever we're learning, we'll pull from, and he reads several chapters from those each week. And then he also has at least one nonfiction selection that goes along with what he's reading. And so it's very, very book heavy. This is a very intense course. So he'll do a lot of that reading. Then he has journaling and journal prompts that he has to do with his reading. And we have a big discussion of everything that he's read at the end of the week, and we talk about how they all tie in with one another. He also does every week some map work and some timeline binder work, and each week he has a mini project. So whatever the topic is that we're studying, usually he has choices of what he's going to do for that mini project. It can be writing something, it can be something hands-on like cooking, or it can be, sometimes there'll be really extensive builds in Minecraft, which doesn't sound educational, but it is. Like, there's one option that I'm really excited about that's coming up, where it talks about he has to build the path to Mecca and all the things on the way and make redstone to help get the pilgrims through all of the important parts. So they're really kind of in-depth Minecraft prompts when he does do that. And then there's just a lot of, there's some arts, there's some crafts, there's some really hands-on stuff. And usually they require a little extra research. And then at the end of each unit, he has a really big project. So this project for this unit is going to be creative writing, which we're starting this week actually. The next unit, he's going to have an essay where he's going to learn how to write a Baconian essay, you know, the 5-paragraph essay. So there's a lot of stuff mixed in. It's a really, really, really dense course. So these are some of the books that he's doing. He's doing The Story of Seed to really learn about agriculture all throughout history and how that plays an important role in world history. He's got African icons because we wanted to tie in African history. So we've plotted this along wherever, so that he's reading at the right time period for each of these African icons. This is a beautiful book, you guys. I have to show you some of the artwork in here. It's absolutely amazing. And he's really enjoying this. It's a lot of shorter stories that he can put together, but it's giving a bigger picture of kind of what's going on in the world. We have Guns, Germs, and Steel. This is a really hefty book. I let him listen to this one on audio, and he can also follow along in the text because sometimes that will help him retain it better. This we're going through slowly. It will take us all year to get through this whole book. So most weeks he has a chapter from here, but not always. This one really just looks at the development of societies. We also will take time with these books online and look at the critiques of the book, like what do people like about this book, what are the critiques of it, so that we can be aware as we're going into it what kind of bias the author might have on history and how that will affect what we read in here. So we discuss that, and he's reading through this. He's also doing Sapiens, A History of the World. This one's a little bit lighter than the other one, but it's still pretty hefty. It does have pictures kind of here and there, but this one also just brings a lot of conversation to the table. Again, he'll do a chapter or two in here a week. He also has another book that we're going to be adding that's called Comparative Religions, because we're going to be doing a bunch on religions in our next unit. Once we get into more modern history, there's some other books that we're going to swap out and trade and add. So he reads those every week, and then he usually reads quite a bit of a book like this. So like a book like this, it would take him, probably he'd do most of this in a week. And like a book like this would take him 2 or 3 weeks to get through. So there's a lot of reading. He just finished a book set in ancient Greece. I think it's called Theris and His Town or something along those lines. And he's about to start the Marco Polo one. We're going to be learning a lot about the Silk Road. And then soon after that, we will be learning about Julius Caesar and the Roman Empire. So he'll be reading this along with that. And after that, I think we're going to be studying about Islam and the way that it affects things. So we're going to be doing 1,000 Splendid Suns, which I think he'll actually really like, because that one is, he likes a lot of Middle Eastern memoirs and history and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to be diving into that. So he's going to enjoy it. So that is kind of what we have going on for his history. It's definitely a program I'm pulling together on my own. It is very rigorous. There's a lot of reading, a lot of discussion, a lot of critical thinking. He has some writing involved with it as well, not just the big writing project. His journal entries are kind of a lot too. So it's kind of a lot, but he's doing really well and he's really enjoying it. So that's what he's doing for history. He's also currently doing a play at the school for middle schoolers and high school, so that's really exciting, and he will be performing that soon. So that's where we're at with my oldest right now. He's doing really well. We're doing this kind of in-between transition phase where we're moving from middle school to high school. He's handling it well, and I'm having a lot of fun. I was kind of intimidated about planning some of my own stuff for his high school, but the stuff that we've been doing, it has been going really well, so I'm excited about that. Moving on to my middle child. He is doing a history program that I'm writing as well. He is doing the history. He wanted to do the history of England. He really wanted to just dive into that. He's always been very interested in that. I found this book, which is absolutely perfect. So I use this as our spine. Each day we usually do a spread like this, and you can see they have Britons and invaders, and then medieval Europe, and then the Tudors and Stuarts, and kind of it breaks down. So each one of these big chapters we break into 2 units because that's about where we need a break. And so there's usually at least one read aloud for a unit, sometimes some overlap, but at least one full read aloud for each unit, and that's set during that time period. And then we'll do our reading every day and a video every day, and then a mini project. At the end of each unit, we have a unit project. So for him, what he does is he creates, from what we read about, a museum display. So they can be different every time. We're taking pictures of them. And then at the end of the whole course, he's going to either pull the pictures or pull out the things from that unit and set it all up and have his museum. And he'll be able to, we'll invite some people over and he'll be able to tell them about all the artifacts throughout the history of Britain and Ireland. And I think that's going to be a lot of fun. He's really enjoying this. I had him pick yesterday his top picks for medieval books, and he is so excited about them for the ones that we're going to be doing for his read aloud that goes with this unit. So he's super excited. He's sad though, because his one that he's most excited about is Crispin and the Cross of Lead by Avi, which is a great book, but it's at the end of that time period, so it's going to be our last one. So he's a little sad about that, but we've got some other good ones that we're going to be reading as well. We read for this past unit, it's by Carolyn Marsh, I believe. It's called, I don't know, Archers. I'll put a picture here, but it's the second one in the series. It's the Roman Quest series. We read the first book together when we did Ancient Rome a while back, and this is the second one, which matched perfectly with what we were looking at. The other one was really set more in Rome because they were leaving Rome and going to Britain, and then the second one was set mostly in Britain, and so it was really great to tie in with what we were doing, and he enjoyed it. I think the books are okay. I like the first one a lot better than the second one, but my son really enjoyed it, so that was great. So that's what he's doing for history, and like I said, if this takes him all of middle school to get through, that's totally fine with me. So we're doing that. For his math, we're still doing math on the level, which is what I did with my oldest. He's just working through. We're taking it bit by bit. I feel like it's nothing really exciting. I feel like he's doing fine with it. I'm kind of burning out a little bit of putting all of the worksheets together regularly. We're doing okay. Doing all right with that. So that's his math. He's also doing the same as my oldest for language arts. They kind of do that together. So they rotate through doing fix-it grammar and spelling and word study. We'll do that for a couple of weeks. We kind of double up on some of these. And then next we'll be doing writing unit, which we'll be using Write Shop. I'll put that there. And I talked more about it when I talked about my oldest's schoolwork. And then we also will be doing, we do a literature unit, which I'll use a novel study or a discussion guide, or I'll pull together some kind of activities to go with that. Our next book that we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing both boys together. We're going to be doing Watership Down. I just finished with my middle. We did Loyalty by Avi, which was really good. A lot of thought and discussion went into that, which was exactly what we want. He's also still doing Italian. So right now I have him doing a free Italian course online, and then he also does immersion as well. It's a YouTube channel, which if I remember, I'll try and post. I think I'm going to need to move him up to something. He will watch things. He's done this for a long time, but he'll watch things in Italian. He's been watching Ninjago right now. He'll find whatever he can, usually on Netflix, because they'll have some stuff in Italian, and so he'll watch things to try to, and he'll usually watch them over and over to try to get some immersion done, and then he does some of these courses on the Italian course. He's also doing Duolingo with that as well. And then all of the kids, I forgot to mention this with my oldest, but all of them have 30 minutes of free reading every day. So that's when they read a book of their choice. Cannot be one that is assigned for school. It's just for fun. So that is what he has going on right now. So now we are going to talk about my youngest. She is in first grade, and our primary focus for first grade is, first grade, second grade, all these early years, is really creating strong readers and writers. That is our number one goal. So right now I'm doing a combination of all about spelling and all about reading. I line them up and we do the activities together that go with each of them. She's getting close to finishing these. I went ahead and ordered level 2, so I'm going to be setting that up for her soon, but this is going well. I like doing them both together, and that has been really working well for her. It gives her a chance to write it and work with the words a lot more. So of course it takes us a little bit longer to get through, but I feel like that's been going really well. And along with these, of course, she'll have her readers. The way we do the reader is she reads some every day. So whether that means that we are splitting a story up over a couple of days, that's fine. If we're not working on a new story, then she'll pick an old story to read to kind of practice. Another thing that we can do sometimes instead of reading out of here is we'll play reading games. We have a couple reading games that she really likes. This one is her favorite. which is really simple. It's called Word Seeds. It's kind of like Candyland. So it's got like the colored, I can show you here on the cards, it's got the colored spot, so she reads the words and then can go that spot. And this has 3 decks, so it's got CVC words, words with blends and digraphs, and then the long vowels. So she's not quite to the long vowels yet. That happens in level 2. It's a good way to practice reading, especially for days that she's just not feeling it. And then we also have this phonics game, which we haven't tried as much. I really want to get her to do this more, but she just loves this Word Seeds game. It's hard to get her to try something else. So we'll do that sometimes as well. Another part of language arts that we have on top of the all about reading, all about spelling, and usually we don't do both of those in one day. We'll do all about reading activities. We'll first learn the reading activity and practice that, and then we'll introduce the spelling stuff that goes along with the same concept that's being taught across both. So we'll do that. We'll do handwriting. Right now I have her going through Zaner Blosser handwriting. She is in level K, which I know seems kind of she is in 1st grade, but I'm pretty sure has some pretty significant dyslexia. I haven't had her officially tested, but working with it a lot, she shows a lot of signs of significant dyslexia. So I want her to really focus on the formation of the letter, and I didn't want so many practices for her to do, so this felt about right. So we're going to go through this until she's done, and then we'll jump up to level 1, and we're just going to go through them in level order. I don't care if she matches the grade level, because I really want her to have the time that she needs to develop those hand skills and to get the letter formation properly, because that's going to help her to write better in general. She still really struggles with some of the letters, and so this is really the right fit for her right now. Once she finishes this, we're just going to keep going up through the next few levels. I'm going to stick with Zaner Blosser. These are very colorful and engaging pages, and I just feel like keeping the same writing style and consistent is going to be really helpful for her. So that's what we're doing for handwriting. And every day with her, we'll also do a little bit more practice with phonics workbooks. Sometimes we'll use Explode the Code. I don't have it with me, but sometimes we'll use the Plaid Phonics, which I did a whole video on that, which I'll kind of share. And then right now we're using a lot. I had made this All About Reading companion to go with All About Reading level 1 for my oldest, and so I just already have it done. So what this does is it takes the stories that are in the book and it gives her a lot of activities to practice those sentences. So here, these are sentences that are actually from the book, and she's gonna highlight the digraphs sh and ch in here, because that's the focus of that lesson. So she's going to find those digraphs, read these sentences, and highlight them. These are the same sentences that are taken from the story. So this is giving her exposure to those before she goes to the story, so that hopefully they'll be a little bit easier for her. So we've got that on day 1, and this is just a sample. All the weeks are a little different. This one, she's got the copy work here. This is again copy work straight from what she's reading. So she does the copy work, and there's usually some kind of activity that goes with it. For this one, she's going to make a list of 5 things, and for the second list, add 5 things that rhyme. So jam. Was jam on the list, or was it ham? I think it was jam. And that would be 1 day of activities. And a lot of times when my son did this, he was older, so I usually don't do quite everything in here and kind of break it down a little bit differently, but we will pull from this. And then this is where she's using the word box to fill in. Again, these are sentences from the story that she's about to read. And then we have some more activity with her copy work. So today she's going to circle the capital letters and highlight the punctuation, and we're going to learn about what ellipses are, because that's in there. And then the next day, again, she has more of the sentences, and we're doing an activity. This is from the All About Reading book, where they read the sentence in the different emotions. So they have little things that they draw, and they use that. So she'll be doing that. Again, like I said, sentences from the book. And then she does copy work, where she's actually copying the sentences. Right now we're practicing a lot on leaving a space between words, so she'll really focus on that. I'll pull from here. I'll pull from Explode the Code. I'll pull from the other stuff based on what we have going on. And I know that this sounds like a lot, but we break it down into 2 sections. So we'll do our activity from either All About Spelling or All About Reading, and kind of the practice there, and we'll do handwriting, and that usually takes 20 to 30 minutes. And then we'll split up and we'll do either from a workbook or do an activity from one of these things, and then we'll read a story, and that also takes between 20 and 30 minutes. Sometimes that takes a little bit longer if we have a longer reading passage, but I kind of make sure that we're not tiring her out on that. So that's kind of what we do for her main stuff, I would say. Then we have Math right now, I am looking for a program for us to go into. She's really already ready to jump up to 2nd grade math, but we're going to finish kind of what I have laid out in here, and then she's going to go ahead and jump up. But I am struggling with math. I've not found a program that works really well for her. So right now I put together this math book. Every day she'll have an activity from Evan Moore's daily word problems and Evan Moore's daily math. And so she'll do one from each of those. And like right now we're reviewing coins, so I'll put that in there. So that's kind of her review every day. And then she'll have a learning activity. So these I will draw from, like this one came from The Good and the Beautiful free. Like I'll look through there and pick certain pages. I'll also look online for extra printables. We have, like you can see, I have some here that came from Math Mammoth. Like this one, I got the money unit, so we're working through that for Math Mammoth. And some of them will be just like free printables online that I'll find as well, like here. So I'm just kind of pulling things together. I'm kind of following the guide in Math on the Level, but it's a lot of work to pull all of this information and resources, and I'd like to find something more solid as kind of a base. So kind of playing with that. So math is we're just kind of doing it. We're getting through it right now, and we'll see what happens with that. For her units, right now we are going through some Zoe and Sassafras books. We just finished reading The Dragons and Marshmallows, so we're learning about the scientific process. We're learning what it means to think like a scientist and be like a scientist, which is really fun. So for these books, we read them, we do some of the experiments in them, we learn about some of the creatures and some of the topics in them. For this book, we are going to be learning about dragons, but we're also going to use this. We've been learning about geography, so we're going to look at dragons around the world, kind of learn about the different dragons. I'm going to let her watch some different takes on dragons. So we've got dragons, How to Train Your Dragon, which is a different kind of dragon than if you look at like Raya and the Last Dragon, and talk about all of that and do some really fun stuff with that. We've also been learning about reptiles with this unit, and we're going to be going on and doing some of the other Zoe and Sassafras books. I think we're going to do the first 4, and then after that we are switching over to doing, see, I've got it here. Yeah, we're going to be doing a spring unit for Heartwood Hotel. We've been going through all of these for the different seasons. Technically it's spring now, but where we live, if we're going to be looking for flowers or if we're going to be doing any of those kinds of activities, spring starts later where we live. We live way up north in the US, and we live in the mountains as well. So spring comes a little late, and we really wanted to do butterflies this year, so I pushed this back. I added in a couple. We were only going to, I lengthened the amount of Zoe and Sassafras books we're going to do, so we're going to do this kind of late spring, and we will be ordering butterflies, and we're going to be learning all about life cycles all over, like not just like animal life cycles, but life cycles in general, cycles of the earth, all of that. And so that's going to be really fun. And we're also just going to be learning about lots of spring animals and having fun with that. So that's kind of it. And then we're going to do a couple more Zoe and Sassafras, and then we're moving on to, I went ahead and planned, I'm still using Build Your Library Level 0 for her. I'm definitely Frankensteining it. So I take all of the resources and totally chop them up and move them around, and it doesn't look anything like the program did at the beginning, but it's a great start for me. There's some great books there. There's some great activities that go along with the read alouds, and I understand that that's level 0, so I'm definitely bumping up the level. I will also add in for that some writing activities from Evan Moore's 6th Straight Writing, as well as Write Shop Junior. I have those, so I'll pull in some of the writing assignments to add to those units to kind of beef that up a little bit, but not a lot. I'm not doing a ton of writing with her right now. And I also am pulling in some stuff from Evan Moore's geography, or their early K through 2 geography course. So I pull all of that in for that one. And that's kind of where we are with her. So we're still having a lot of fun with units. We usually take anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour to do our unit in the morning, which includes reading our book and doing whatever activities, which at this point, I'm just trying to keep them really fun. And then we spend about, I don't know, math takes anywhere between 15 and 30 minutes, I would say. And then we do the 2 20-minute or so blocks in the afternoon. So we kind of spread it up. It's not a lot. It sounds like a lot, but it's really not a lot. And so that's what we're doing. And that's where we're at with school with all of the kids right now, and kind of what I have planned kind of coming up and where we're at. I did order the new level of All About Reading and All About Spelling, and we definitely have some math stuff to figure out. But other than that, I don't really think that there's any big purchases. Things are going well. For my middle, I don't see changing things for him anytime soon. I think we're going to stick with math on the level and just get him through all of those concepts by the time he's done with 8th grade, which I think should be just fine. And yeah, there's not a lot changing, not a lot. I don't know. I didn't go back and look. I should have gone back and looked to see what we had planned and where things are different. We aren't doing the geography Build Your Library level 7 anymore with the boys. The goal was that I could like wrap everybody together and do all of that together, but it just wasn't quite working as well as we liked. And I felt like it was very obvious that when it came to that subject, history, geography, science type stuff, it's time for me to, the needs of the boys are so different where they're at, so I really needed to kind of split those up. So that's why we're not using that at this point. And that's pretty much everything. If you want to know what we have planned tentatively, what we're looking at for high school, let me know and in the comments below so that I can make that video. And if you have any questions, let me know. It's good to be back. It might be kind of a slow start, slow build, kind of getting back into this. It's been a little bit challenging getting back into daily life. I think everything is so far behind because I just kind of was checked out for so long there, but starting to slowly work back in, and it's good to be back. I hope that you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.